We call this beautiful blue planet our home. The sky, the seas, all of us, the cities we've built, and the industries we've created to meet our needs. We have relied on coastal regions of the world to sustain our lifestyles for millions of years. But living near the coast on an ever-changing planet comes with risks. Tropical cyclones are low-pressure rotating storms that form over ocean waters of at least 25.5 to 26.5 degrees Celsius, producing strong winds and heavy rainfall that threaten our coastal communities. So, how will tropical cyclones change in the future? Scientists project that globally, tropical cyclones will decrease in number, but the proportion of high-intensity storms will increase. We also project that tropical cyclones will shift further poleward as the mid-latitudes warm up due to climate change. However, cyclones remain tricky to model, and changes are highly variable at the regional scale. So let's take a closer look. By 2100, the frequency of tropical cyclones is projected to decrease throughout the North and South Pacific. In the Northwest Pacific, a 14% decrease in frequency is projected. Tracks of cyclones in the region are predicted to shift away from land and towards the open ocean. A greater proportion of Category 4 and 5 storms is projected for the Pacific Basin, which will exacerbate storm surge concerns of low-lying South Pacific islands alongside threatening coastal megacities in the North Pacific. Tropical cyclone frequency over the central and northern Atlantic is expected to increase, while frequency over the southern Atlantic is expected to decrease. Tropical cyclone tracks are projected to shift eastward across the open ocean. This is because the sea surface temperature rise from anthropogenic climate change will be more pronounced in the Atlantic's northeast compared with the northwest, driving a thermal gradient. Tropical cyclone intensity in the North Atlantic is also expected to increase because warmer oceans in a warmer world provide more energy for these storms. Finally, let's take a look at the Indian Ocean. Changes to tropical cyclone behaviour over the Indian Ocean is also expected to vary basin to basin. Namely, by 2100, the Northwest Indian Ocean is projected to observe a 46% increase in tropical cyclone frequency compared with a 31% decrease expected across the Northeast Indian Ocean. In the next 30 years, the Southern Indian Ocean's tropical cyclone frequency is projected to decrease, but increase in intensity. The distribution of tropical cyclones here is expected to shift westward in the Northern Hemisphere during autumn. A study conducted by Shriver in 2011 concluded that anthropogenic aerosol pollution reduces incoming solar radiation whilst cooling the upper ocean. This reduces vertical wind shear between the north and the south and increases the intensity of tropical cyclones. Now that we have an idea of how tropical cyclones are going to change in the future, we need to consider how these changes are going to impact humans. As sea level rise continues, the storm surges resulting from tropical cyclones are likely to be even larger than today. Low-lying communities including the Caribbean and Pacific Islands will likely be impacted the most as they are already at high risk of inundation. These communities are not only impacted by structural and economic damages, but also health-wise, as coastal water sources become contaminated by seawater. Nations with high economic growth, including the US and China, are also at high risk, as much of their GDP is tied to their coastal cities. These impacts are projected to increase cyclone damages by $109 billion annually in 2100 due to increased ages, economic inflation, and the intensification of tropical cyclones due to climate change. Per unit of GDP, this corresponds to around 0.02% for Oceania and East Asia, 0.05% for North America, and 0.3% for Central America and the Caribbean. So, let's sum this up. On a global scale, we predict that tropical cyclones will decrease in frequency, increase in intensity, and their distribution will shift further poleward. On a regional scale, predictions get more complicated due to intrabasin and internal climate variability. Poorer island nations and nations with assets tied up in coastal regions are most at risk of economic burdens. Also, the expectation of sea level rise and tropical cyclone intensification in the future due to climate change will likely exacerbate storm surges, increase inundation, and put human health at risk due to water contamination. Going forward, we need a better understanding of tropical cyclone genesis, improved model resolution, natural variability differentiation, and sea surface temperature predictions. This will increase our confidence in predictions and better allow governments to make sure our cities and communities are prepared. Knowledge is power. Right now, our predictions sound rather grim, but the fact is the future remains uncertain, and collectively we have a lot of power to use these predictions to inform which path we choose to take. So, what kind of future do you want?